we're not in the heat of football, NFL football just yet. But there has been a lot of news.
Sweaty Stallions.
The Sweaty Stallions.
Because his last name is Sweat.
Yeah,
it's absolute gold.
But the one main topic, and the biggest talking point in the NFL right now,
it's starting to die
a
down.
little bit, is Aaron Rodgers.
Discount double check. We shitted on him a few weeks ago.
Look, and you and I in the precast, we were about to go to blows. We were about to go like Aaron Paul.
Logan Paul,
that guy, whatever. But we were like,
Floydie.
Yeah, Floydie. We were about to spar over this. We were heated.
Yeah, we disagree a little bit on this, which is the first time ever in podcast history.
I think so.
That we disagree. So he came out and kind of made a statement on why he did what he did and how he acted, right? Because he reason why he said he was kind of a dick was because he just kind of said, "Screw it, I'm not doing anything." He didn't say anything, didn't defend himself, just said "F it," and all we had was the Packers narrative. Right. He came out, had a little 30-minute press conference, and just laid it all out.
At the end of the day, like I think when we were talking about it in the precast, you felt like the Packers organization was in the right.
I still feel, I think how he handled himself was much better during the interview, but his biggest complaint to you was never money, right? He wanted a little respect for the vets. Right, and we talked about that a little bit. I guess they wanted more recognition. I don't really...
Yeah, well, look, I mean, when you have players like,
Charles Woodson, Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb,
yeah,
Clay Matthews,
and
those were some of the names he mentioned.
Yes, and then like an A.J. Hawk, and just these guys who have given themselves to the Packers.
Sure.
Given their career, per se.
Sure. And
then just, I guess their exit in the way that they were treated maybe on their way out, because look, it's a business.
Yeah. That's where we disagree, because Rodgers wanted it all about him. Even still, he's like, look, my biggest thing is like, I want to be part of the recruiting process, which I get, but he's like, they want to come play with me, right? They don't want to come play for the Packers. They want to come play for me. And I was like, I get that. I get the arrogance. I get the confidence. And he's probably right. To me, it's like, look, it's a business. You're part of the corporation.
Sure.
If you want to go own your own football team, go buy one.
But at the same time, your job especially as a quarterback, you're the face of the team. You're the person. And nobody, these guys are professionals. They want to win.
Sure.
I don't believe he didn't feel like the Packers were doing enough to give him the tools to win a championship, and they were ahead. If you remember the NFC Championship, they were ahead of the Bucks. And then eventually they ended up losing.
They lost, yeah.
Yeah, but if you look at when Tom Brady went to Tampa,
sure,
he made that organization commit
to
winning.
He also showed up with 6 rings.
Well, Aaron has one, and he was the MVP of the.
So one guy wins 1 ring, he now gets to control the team.
But should he not have an opinion? He's been the face of the team for 10 years.
I think they never discredited his opinion. He wanted full control, full reign. And like you said, well, hey, he wanted to be part of the decisions. Well, Packers been around a lot longer than Rodgers has. Right, and they've won a couple rings without Rodgers.
Sure.
So I think they know how to run an operation.
Maybe it's not like the.
They went and drafted Rodgers.
True, but it's not like the same organizational, the top end of the organization are the same people that won all those rings in the past, right? It's not the same people, I think that's what he's saying.
That's like you and I where we work, right? I have a good month, right, or a good year of managing my team, and I go to Tom Bomlin, the CEO. Hey man, I want to make some decisions around here. What's the skin coming off my back? Where's the sacrifice from me?
But
my job's not going to be on the line.
But you can make decisions. Are you not empowered to make decisions? Because
sure, in my realm, in my area, like okay. He can, like you. Hey, Roger, I'm not talking about Rodgers having calls on the field because he does.
He does it all the time.
He does it all the time. An audible is a prime example of that, right? But I'm talking. He wants to be part of the
prime example of that is them going.
If you want to
kicking the ball on 4th and 1 when he was. Clearly,
look, sometimes you're gonna be overpowered. That's part of it. You're not the head coach, and sometimes you're gonna have to swallow that pill. That's just part of life. You can't argue that,
and that's fine. But look, if you're a professional athlete and you're at that
level,
you're
claiming that Rodgers right now is be all like the perfect human being that he knows all.
He's
okay,
not.
So he's trying to say like, hey, like I'm the guy, and he did a very good job explaining himself, and he spoke very well, which I appreciated. But you're a number.
Tom did it.
He's got 6 rings. And it's Tom. I'm talking about Tom Brady. Okay, let's the goat.
Well, maybe if the Packers would have invested a little bit more into letting Aaron Rodgers.
Tom did it 6 times in New England without that though.
He absolutely had input.
Sure, but I mean,
look. Think
go to the teams he won with. It wasn't like they were like these rock stars.
So let's just say hypothetically,
I think
if Aaron Rodgers was to say, "I'm not going to go back to the Packers," which he has, he said, "I'm going back for 1 year at least." But let's say hypothetically, if he went to like Atlanta and he took over,
like the communications or whatever, or like
and just said, "Hey, look,
you think the Atlanta would go and win?"
I do. I don't think that we could discredit it. He clearly didn't feel like he had the tools to win. I mean, who's the running back there? Who's the running back in Green Bay?
You had him on your team. He's an absolute stud. Well, Aaron Jones.
Okay, so then
he's Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams.
That's it. And they got rid of Jordy.
Okay, Jordy's old.
But so tight end, offensive line.
I can't think of the tight end's name right now.
I think it's the guy who played here forever, Mercedes.
No, I don't think that's who it is. He had a solid team.
Look. I think that's where his head's at. Is there were opportunities to get more talent on the offense or defensive side of the ball.
I think
and
this
they didn't take advantage.
I think where again, this is kind of where we're differentiating in the world is where we think where we should be and what we're owed and what we're due.
He's not owed anything.
He's not.
But he clearly has. He has skin in the game here, and the guy
so does every player on the field.
But
why is he any different than anybody else? Guess how they got Aaron Rodgers? They drafted him through a draft, and he worked under Brett Favre. They did it to Brett Favre. Why aren't we pissed that Brett Favre got screwed over?
They were like $10 million under the cap. Go get another offensive lineman that can block for him for more than 1 second. He got his ass kicked this year.
Brady gets his ass kicked all the time.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
Oh my God.
Last year, no. Not last year. Last year, my man was untouched. I mean, it was a great team. But prior to that, my man would get destroyed.
I do not remember any time that Tom Brady.
It goes back to us. If you're going to claim yourself as the GOAT and one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, you adapt.
He did.
Plain and simple.
He
did a great job.
He was the MVP. What are you talking about?
Okay,
but I guess that's what he's saying is like, look, I'm bringing enough to the table here to say that we were this close. We were NFL.
I think there's just too much arrogance. That's honestly what it is. It's just taking up too much air in the room.
Well, look,
the ego is over.
The one thing I will say is he said in his press conference is I love my team, I love my coaches. It's clearly just a disconnect.
It's a front office thing.
Yeah.
So, but look, again, back to my original point with the Tom Bauman situation. The front office, they own that team. And at the time, what they're looking at, they might be looking at a 5-year plan. We talk about this all the time at work. You and I, we're supposed to look at a 6-month plan. Those big guys, they look at 5 years. They're way ahead of the game. So he's looking right now. He wants to win right now. Well, they got to look. I've got to stay relevant for the next 20 years. So I can keep my job. Rodgers is going to get paid, and he'll be gone in 3 years, and it'll be a thing of the past. These guys in the front office, they're not going anywhere anytime soon. They have to protect their job. They have to do what they came in to do.
So do you believe that the Packers gave every were they completely bought into a championship? Did they do everything that like the Buccaneers did to make sure that they had a championship, or did they leave some things on the table? So I feel like they left some things on the table, and that's what he's frustrated with.
So I think, and I get frustrated with the Braves because they do the same thing. I feel like they don't buy in all the time when they should be buying in. But at the same time, there's a cost to when you buy in. Of how long you're going to be good. The Bucs have never been good. They don't have a franchise or a dynasty or a history of being good. The Packers, there's a lot of pressure to always be good as in Lambeau. You always have to be good. So sometimes, like their cost is like, look, maybe we don't go all in and we try to win with what we got, but I'll know for the next 3 years we're still going to be relevant. Where the Bucs are like, after Brady's gone, that team's going to be in shambles.
They're done.
So it's what's the now again they got a ring out of it, but it was also it's still even though they won, it wasn't a guaranteed
Rodgers
win.
Has been there for a decade. How do you not surround the guy?
Here's my thing: they go for it on that fourth down, they win. This conversation never happens. It never becomes a thing. It's the fact they lost. So if they win, the front office looks like heroes. So it's just part of the decisions. I respect that decision more than what the Bucs are doing because the Bucs can be relevant in a few years.
Yeah, right. They bought a championship.
That's like they brought the. What if the front office came out after that interview? It was like, you know what, Rodgers, I'm gonna come and I'm gonna throw some passes. I'm gonna come down there and throw a few passes during the game because I feel like I can make a huge contribution to you.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
The front office,
yes,
going down and telling Rodgers how to do his job.
But look, Rodgers has been around long enough that this guy's not a rookie coming out.
Sure.
And he's not like a second-year starter. He's been in the NFL and he's been a high-level player for a long time.
But he hasn't managed a multi-billion-dollar NFL team.
But that doesn't mean that he can't have some input on the people that he needs around him to be successful.
So why can't the executive come down and say, hey, I'm going to throw the football? I've seen a lot of quarterbacks. Been around it forever.
Look,
it's the same argument that you're making.
It can be. But I mean, if you're a football player, you understand football players. Look, that's a little bit different than saying a person coming down from the executive office and trying to do like a physical, like something like a physical activity. Look, I mean, you're not built for that. It doesn't mean that Aaron Rodgers can't have enough aptitude. I played in high school. Aaron Rodgers has enough aptitude to understand what he needs and what his own style is.
Okay, so I'll give you a little bit. I understand. I agree with him being a part of the conversation a little bit, but to throw a fit about it.
Did he throw a fit?
I mean, it was a quiet fit.
But that's.
You left your team. You again going back to what we talked about, leaving your team stranded. You didn't show up to any of the preseason or the practices.
They're OTAs.
So
the first word in the OTA is optional. And this guy didn't need to be there anyway.
Yeah, but when you're the GOAT, though, Tom Brady never stops. That's my thing. Is like that's where I understand it's optional. The word the optional is for the losers to me. I feel like it's a test. Anytime I see that, it's like, look, if it's OTAs and it starts, you got other kids that are showing up. Go be an example. You want your team to be great. You want your team to be great. You want your O-line to be a certain way. Then go spend the extra time with those guys and make them better.
And I get where you're coming from there. Like be pot committed and do your thing. At the same time, though,
we can't sit here and say, hey, Simone, you gotta adapt and be dealt with the cards that you're handed, and then fight and then counter it with.
So what happens if Aaron Rodgers gets hurt in OTAs?
That's part of the game. He can get hurt in preseason. That's just part of. He can get hurt walking down the stairs. That's irrelevant.
Look, you earn the right to not have to participate in the OTAs.
I disagree.
You do.
I know you do, and I know that it's allowed, and I know they don't really care about it that much. I'm talking about me from my perspective. If you're the GOAT, where Tom Brady's out in the mountains in January throwing the football around, that's why he has 7 rings. That's why you got 1, Rodgers. Fact, numbers don't lie. I'm telling you.
Well, look, I mean, but we're not talking about Tom Brady right now. Look, Tom Brady also had probably the best coach, head office. You think about that.
If you try to discredit this man's championship, I'm gonna lose my bananas.
No, I'm not taking anything away from Tom Brady. The man is amazing.
He's a god. Okay, it's cool. Tom's the god. Okay,
you can't see it on the cast, but it's on the wall right next to me.
Drunkle Tom. Listen, man, that was a solid episode.
Let's go, baby.
I'm juiced up. Let us know in your comments. What do you think? Rodgers, right, wrong? Let us know what you guys think. Who was right? Who's on the right side here?
B.D.E family is never shy about.
They are not,
especially telling us we're wrong.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, they love that.
Yes.
So by all means, B.D.E family,
keep the B.D.E flowing.
Keep it.
And I'm Shelton.
I'm Hawley.
Boogity boogity. Oh. See ya.
Hey. Yeah. Tell them ready, set. Check the field, let it build. I won't break a sweat. Yeah. Never down for the count. What you wanna bet? Yeah. Try to take me out, but you not a threat. Yeah. Hey, why would you wanna compete? Cause you ain't got nothing on me. We about to shut it down. Just wait around and